G 얘기를 안 할 수가 없어요. 시즌 중에 갑자기 결별하게 됐는데
You need to fix whatever problem you have with Javi and Patman, and then they laid it out, and then
팬맨이 뭐 프로스트 밀어낸 거다 뭐 이런 루머를 계속 아리라는 이분이 계속 퍼져 날라가지고
everything there is true. Patman hates my guts. That's an even bigger conversation. I think on a lot of teams this happens where people start becoming a sect, right? There's like groups within groups. I think the moment that starts happening, everything is cooked, right?
그래서 어쨌든 그 마스터즈 가기 전에 정말 어마어마한 루머가 떴었죠. 저희가 뭐 G 프린세스 탈론 얘기를 했는데 어쨌든 그 프로스트 감독이 하면은 G 얘기를 안 할 수가 없어요. 시즌 중에 갑자기 결별하게 됐는데 그리고 CEO 성명까지 나왔어요. 이게
Let's just say that people think it was London. It wasn't London. Around Ho Chi Minh, I had been hearing from people that something was going on, and when approached, everyone was like, "No, we never said anything. We don't know what the hell this is." And yeah, and then obviously after London, again, not really meetings or talking. It's more just GE randomly calls you and is like, "Yo, you need to fix whatever problem you have with Javi and Patman," and then they laid it out. And then I'm skipping steps, obviously, but and then I basically was like, "Well, if we're having these conversations, I'm good. I don't want to have these conversations." So I just left to another team because I had already had offers. Even the GE players, they knew that Cruz was basically waiting for me to be a free agent. That's what makes this move so strange, is that I guess think so little of me. Their lives are going to be easier without me. I'm on full sense. So, yeah.
화제됐던 게 이게 저희 디스코드 채널인데 팬맨이 뭐 프로스트 밀어낸 거다 뭐 이런 루머를 계속 아리라는 이분이 계속 퍼져 날라가지고
No, that's true. Everything there is true. Patman hates my guts. That's fine. It's okay.
안 좋아한다는 뜻이 이게 뭐 사람의 문제인 건지 아니면 선수와 감독 간의 그런 이슈인 건지
Both, I think.
both?
That's why on Spike Talk, when we talked about this, I said, I am by far the hardest person to work with because I'm not trying to be your friend. Things aren't working in server or you're doing something that I don't agree with, I'm going to tell you. There's no secrets with me. I'm going to tell you right now what's happening. And I think if you just look back at just even my time with like Governor and Talon and stuff, there's one thing I dislike more than anything, and that's throwing games. I'm going to be very vocal about us doing things that are not in the game plan or blah, blah, blah. And if you want to make decisions and you want to make your own game plans with me, you come to me, you show me your ideas, you tell me. You don't just randomly do them in the middle of a game and then like, if it works, yeah, you look like a genius. But if it doesn't, you just wasted all of our times, right? So it's like, I am always going to be a problem in general. I'm not a nice person to be around when it comes to competition. I view this as a job. And some people can't differentiate, I think, human Hector and the coach. They just see it as one blank.
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's not. And it's never going to be that. And I think that just comes from, I think, just a lack of, I think, life experience where, like, people always expect... You know, me and Jovi, like, I said this before, too. Jovi motherfucks me sometimes. We and him are still boys. Like, I don't understand why, like, you can't, like, argue with somebody and yell at somebody and then, like, move on to something else. Like, I've had friends in real life that I've gotten into fistfights with. Like, they're still friends. So it's like, I come from a place where, like, I guess it's more of an Asian thing. I keep learning that, like, your culture would rather just, like, pretend something is not happening than address it. I come from one where, no, you address it. If we got problems, we got to solve this problem until there's no problems. You know what I'm saying? Right. And if you can't come to it, then it's either you or me. That's just how life is. So, like, for me, it's just kind of strange because everybody's there to be like some fighting and fights. This was the most quiet. This actually reminds me of my time on 100 Thieves, where like it just stems from one thing, goes to management, and then before you know it, a decision has to be made. That's it. It's not fighting. It's not like, you know, people are fighting or, you know, but literally has nothing to do with that. It's just, you know, some people would rather.
So there's no middle where you talk it out and then it goes to management.
Right. No.
It just goes boop, boop.
It's just somebody's quiet, doesn't say anything, and then behind the scenes is just waiting for them to make a decision. And that's basically what happens.
팬맨과 사이가 안 좋다.
그거는 팩트다.
팩트다. 그럼 플래툰과 사이가 안 좋냐? 이것도 팩트인가요?
That's an even bigger conversation. I think on a lot of teams this happens where people start becoming a sect, right? There's like groups within groups. I think the moment that starts happening, everything is cooked, right? So I don't have a group. I don't like, I treat pretty much everybody the same all the time. So I think the moment things like that start happening, it just gets weird, and I think that's just what happened.
한 줄 요약. 정치질 하는 순간 끝났다.
그렇죠.
이건 거잖아요.
G에서도 그런
네.
게 이제 시작이 됐다.
그냥 좋지는 않다는
그쵸,
얘기네요. 어쨌든
그쵸.
풀센스는 어쩌다 나가게 된 건지 또 저는 이게 궁금해요.
Right?
Because of Jakeson and VCT Pacific. They decided to break us up. In my opinion, I believe, because now I know more information about why they made the decision, respectfully, that not a lot of people really understand how esports works. I think people from the outside have an idea of how business works, but they definitely aren't in the industry long enough to know how esports work. They basically kept delaying the decision on Talon. I had 3 organizations that were all tier 1, like in CS, ready to sign everyone and keep the apartments the same. We would be in Gangnam. They were just going to take over everything. They were just going to buy shit and just be like, yo, we're in it, just so they can prove that next year they can, like what's happening this year, that they can show Riot, like, look, we can be in this and we can show that we can do this, right? They knew about it, let's say, as early as August and September. I had it lined up within 24 hours when I found out what happened with Talon or what was happening. Because now you know, esports connections. I'm one of the most connected people, so I could just like that. So I had 3 big orgs ready, just waiting. We kept constant communication. Cruz was meeting with Riot. Cruz was having these discussions. He was kind of like, I'm like coaching Cruz through it. The the free agency starts October 15th. Basically, by November 1st, you need to start practicing and like forming rosters for the off-season tournaments. So like how I ended up in GE. GE were great. They had already basically signed a coach and other players. And last minute they waited and they delayed it. They lost that coach. They lost some of those players. And they were sitting there like, dude, if you don't come, we are screwed. November 1st has to be the deadline. Riot knew this for 2 weeks before November 1st. And then still, Talon is still whatever. No decision on Talon. Constant communication with Riot about this. Jovi was the first domino to fall because he's like, bro, I can't be in limbo, but I have a head coaching job offer. Like, I'll stay, but I need to know I'm going to have a spot in the league. Because another thing that Riot did, which was incorrect, was there were already rumors and people talking that they were going to add another Japanese team. So now we're like, wait a minute, there's a chance they're not even in the league. How does this even work? So if we stayed together, we weren't going to be in the league if they didn't get accepted. And this is all like not as a fault of our own, which is why I'm so cavalier about like naming VC Pacific and Jake and everybody. They knew from the beginning. And I knew it would happen. I was warning them from the sides like, dude, this is just accept these orgs. And they even made a mandate where like, oh, we had to find CS orgs or orgs that also had like some Asian representation. So I even then had to narrow the search and find teams that had APAC in other divisions. So I even did that. So it's like we did everything we possibly could to get to the finish line. And then November 1st comes, crickets. No responses, no communication. I got the deadline. I had to accept. There's no way. Jovi left to RQ. I had no other choice. Like I had a VCT CN offer, and I postponed that as long as I could to see if we can stay together. And I was going to make more money there. So it's like we did everything we could, but it's just, unlucky.
Yeah.
과거에 뭐 이런 인터뷰를 했어요. 풀센스는 탈론을 대체할 자격이 없다. 라이엇 평가로도 미달이다라는 얘기를 했는데 어쨌든 풀센스 감독이 됐어요. 어떤 상황에서 이런 인터뷰가 나온 건지.
If you don't think Talon is good enough, that's fine. But there's no way you thought Full Sense was when you passed on them for franchising. That is just an undeniable fact. Riot had a choice to pick a tie team or move another team to tie. They chose to move another team to tie. And if you are on a 1-year lease, right, because franchising changes in 1 year. Are you going to pick the team that you passed in the first place because you didn't believe that they deserved to be here? Or one of the biggest orgs in the world? This is my logic was that. And the franchise resets. If you want to bring Full Sense to take over Thailand, whatever. That was kind of everyone's knowledge was that this was a 1-year project, right? Yeah. So I just said it then because it was the truth. And so the Full Sense people actually, Cruz had to do some convincing. But it had nothing to do with Full Sense. It's just me talking about Riot's decision making didn't make sense to me. And it still, even today, doesn't when you just look at the evidence. Full Sense was passed on for Talon, and Talon failed. Shouldn't you trust one of the biggest orgs in the world? Right, a bigger org for now, and then reevaluate Full Sense when franchise is up. I'm too illogical.
아마 내가 볼 때 이것도 입장차네. 라이엇
그쵸.
입장에서는 어쨌든 동남아 씬에서 계속 꾸준히 활동을 했던 풀센스에게 차순위권을 준 거고
그쵸.
프로스트 입장에서는 그냥 프로씨만 봤을 때 얘네보다 돈 많고 유명한 구단 오겠다는데 왜 거절하는 거야? 이런 느낌이네 결국에는.
그렇죠.
어쨌든 풀센스 돌아왔고 이 모든 그 드라마 스토리의 완성은 G전입니다.
네.
몇 대면 예상합니까?
I'd be very surprised if we struggle all that much.
No.
That's probably
So
where I'll
you
put it.
think 2-0?
Just look how close the series have been between us two. I was there the first time, and I was there the second. And the second, we won in a best of 3 on the third map, right? And they beat us 2-0 while I was there. And now I'm with them. And now GE doesn't have me. I mean, it's going to be hard because as of this moment, this will be the biggest game of their careers for sure. So they're going to do everything they can to win that game. But I'm not concerned about it.
2대 0이래요, 여러분들. 이거 한국 팬들이 엄청 기대하고 있어요. 예. 퐁당퐁당 징크스 방송에서도 많이 나왔을 텐데 혹시 의식을 하는지 본인도 좀 궁금하거든요, 이거는.
Again, Furia, Talon, both years,
Yeah.
even GE, rookies. You have rookies. It's hard to be consistent with rookies, right? Furia was 3, Talon was 3, so 3 every year 3 rookies except for this year, where I have. But like, so it's like it's very difficult to have consistency. Also, it's even more difficult when I play PRX like 6 times a year or something. Like, what are we doing? So it's like sometimes you beat a team and then you play PRX, and you beat a team and then you play DRX, and you beat a team and then you play Gen G 2024. Like, come on, what are we doing, bro? Like, you're playing like a good team all the time, and then it's just like unlucky, basically, with rookies.
프로스트 감독의 특징 중에 하나가 되게 카운터를 잘한다. 그 이유가 정해진 버짓 안에 루키들을 운영해야 되는 팀 운영 때문에 그런 거다라는 지금 저희가 대화 내용에서 결론이 났잖아요. A라는 팀을 만나면은 이 A 팀을 전력 투구를 해서 분석을 해서 카운터로 준비해. 근데 그 다음 B 팀을 만나기에는 그 전력 분석을 하고 카운터로 치기에는 시간이 부족해서 지는 거다라는 결론 약간 그런 추측을 했었거든요, 저는.
Yeah, for sure. Like sometimes you have less time to practice, or you can't like flip a map in time, or like, you know what's gonna happen this year? We play Zeta, and then in 36 hours we play RQ. So that means we have a prep week for Zeta, and then literally 1 day for RQ. So then it's like, so sometimes I'll skip an opponent to focus on the one that is harder. So we did that with Zeta technically twice now. 2024, we got Primi. We didn't practice. 2025, unfortunately, Cruz's father passed away. So sometimes we run into teams and we can't even practice against them because randomness happens. You know, so you try to pick your fights. You pick your battle, you know? Like, yeah, sometimes it's just random,
탈론으로
bro.
가야 되잖아.
Yeah, it's just talent.
누군가 한 명을 데려올 수만 있다면 누굴 데려오고 싶은지.
Then who you take out? Like Autumn would be great because he can play any agent I want, he can play. And that is certainly something that Full Sense can benefit from. But I did say this, though. I did say this to Javi early in trials in 2024. Cruz was like, he mentioned Javi's name. He's like, there's a Filipino player that I think we should trial. Technically, I regret that decision because at that time, I probably could have had Patman and Javi. And I think that roster with Cruz and then eventually getting Primi.
Would that have been Talon?
Yeah.
Past Talon.
And Patman was already on Talon. Yudo was already on Talon. Like, knowing what I know now, that 2024 team would have been way different. But obviously, I did the best I could with what I knew. And Ban and Governor still made champs, still made top 4 the next year. I just made changes because, you know, I felt like it reached its, like, ceiling. But I wonder what could have been if I had, like, you know, let's say Javi and Pat in 2024, right?
풀센스도 아니고 G도 아닙니다. 너 사고 싶은 선수 다 사. 누구를 꾸리고 싶습니까? 5명.
5명?
아.
All right.
Autumn is the Australian Izu. He might be a little smarter because he can IGL. Because remember, he was IGL. But it's basically the same. He's basically Izu, just Australian. I think I would probably vibe with the most. And I don't mean vibe as in personality because I don't know him. But I think that his game, I understand, and I think I would figure that out. It's probably May from DFM because he's fearless. He reminds me of Governor. His mechanics are just like obviously better. Because Gov was like not scared of anything. Like you could tell Gov, hey, I'm gonna send you into this 5 stack, and I'm just gonna run the other way, and we're gonna win the round. All right, he doesn't care. Yeah, yo, you need a 1-on-1 Ilya 12 rounds in a row. All right, and then we get 13-0'd. Unlucky. So yeah, he did not care. Well, so the thing is, I know I would put Jemkin on smokes. because he mid rounds a lot. And look what I did with Javi. Javi didn't play smokes before me. I would just throw him on controller and just call it a day. So let's go Sentinel. Who do I? Well, Devai is probably the best Sentinel in Pacific for sure. So if I wanted the Sentinel, it would probably be Devai.
Yeah, let's just put him in.
Yeah, but under this context, then Ilya, like something would be like my number one choice for like duelist. But
Okay.
initiator, probably I'll just throw Izu on Sova on every map.
이주?
Yeah, I'll just throw Izu on Sova on every map and just deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay, if language isn't an issue, then I'll just keep Jemkin as second duelist and just get Karen. Because it's close between him or Mako, but yeah, main smoke.
카론.
And then I'll just chill right there. I'll just be like, all right, GG.
메인 엔트리, 잼킨 세컨 엔트리 or 플렉스, 카론 메인 스모크, 이주 이니시에이터, 다바이 센티널.
Yeah.
오.
언어적 소통 이슈가 없다는
없다는
가정하에.
오케이.
어.
그렇게 해야 재밌지.
So no-
그러면은 프로스 감독한테 또 직구전 질문일 수 있는데
네.
어쨌든 지금 ENC라는 종목이 있잖아요. 프로스트가 생각하는 한국 국가대표.
It would have been Klaus Sentinel for sure. Buzz at
Buzz.
Duelist. Izu for sure. Smokes Mako. It would have been Mako or Karen. The reason why the difference now is that I would need experience. It's Izu. You can go stacks. You can go Izu. It's super. I'll probably have to throw Izu on initiator just to get value out of the pick. And then, but you can go Francis. You can go Zuna. You can pick a lot of people at that spot. I think if you ask me to choose, I'd probably throw him there for sure. But I'm also not accounting for fit, you know. But yeah, so it'd probably be Francis. And then if I needed a 6, I'd probably just grab Zuna just for skill and just try to figure it out. So if somebody is not playing well or they're not listening, I just would be like, bro, you come in, just listen, shut up, let's go.
ENC는 버즈, 마코, 프란시스, 이주, 클라우스의 식스맨을 슌하는 상황에 따라서 맵마다. 그러면은 내가 한번 데리고 키워보고 싶다라는 욕심나는 선수가 좀 있었나요?
Probably Zekin would be one because that.
you want to work with Zekin.
결국에는 내년이 됐든 내후년이 됐든 아메리카스로 다시 돌아갈 계획도 있는지 좀 의향이 있는지 본인 생각은.
I mean, I considered it this last offseason. I mean, mainly because, you know, my parents are getting older and I want to be home, closer to home.
오케이.
Like, if I was much younger, I would probably consider staying in Pacific as my, like, number one option. Maybe even China.
감독으로서 움직이는데 어떤 걸 1순위를 두는지 어떤 걸로 움직이는지 좀 궁금하기도 해요. 이거는.
Right now, it's autonomy. There's a lot of orgs that I would never be able to work with because they don't let people do what they want. Right? There's a lot of owners that is probably like the number one thing is if I go somewhere, either let me do it and fire me because I suck or just stay out of my way. Just let me
do my job.
Yeah, like so the phrase we like to use in America is if you're going to ask me to cook, let me shop for the groceries.
이거는 그냥 나라 문화에 상관없이 모든 감독이 똑같네.
그러니까요.
발투어를 보고 있는 팬들이 또 물어본 질문들이 있어요. 날카로울 수 있고 예민할 수 있는 질문인데 좀 참고를 해주시고요. 현재로서 감독으로서 받고 있는 연봉 만족스러운지 그리고 감독 이후의 커리어는 어떤 걸 또 생각하고 있는지 좀 궁금하다는 팬들이 되게 많거든요.
No, I've been taking pay cuts a lot. I mean, even now, the GE move to Full Sense costs me money. I will say that, especially for someone of my experience, like having as many world titles as I do in other games, it's interesting because I certainly don't feel as if my pay reflects what I've actually done, right? So I would say certainly not. Especially when you hear some players making crazy work. I mean, I can tell you guys something. Some people at Riot asked me to apply for what I believe was Leo Faria's position in
Can this go out?
2023. I mean, it doesn't really matter because he got the job, right? So for a while, it was more like trying to make Valorant better, or like could I work with a developer to sort of like make the esports scene better because I have a lot of experience and I had a lot of people that I knew within. Obviously, one thing that was said to me was like I'm not a culture fit at Riot, and I certainly understand that now, especially as time is going on. But with a lot of things I've done, I think working on the dev side is still probably the more natural fit because I have, you know, a little bit of a programming background plus the gaming experience, and you know, so it's like I would say if anything, it's probably that is more likely than talent.
저는 오히려 막 프로스트 감독이 이런 e스포츠 씬에 꾸준히 나면서 뭐 스카우터라든지 구단 관계자라든지 뭐 이런 걸 할 줄 알았는데 그런 쪽은 아예 생각이 없구나.
Yeah, GM's easy, bro. I've GM'd and coached almost everywhere I've gone, from Talon to GE to. It's not like I don't enjoy it or like oh it's too easy. Like it's more just like I like doing new things. And I think that given the stuff I see, especially on the esports side, like small tangent, but it's not really a tangent. Most of the hirings now are people with MBAs for the esports departments. It's not even actual gamers. And part of it, I think, is because game devs think that we're just, I guess they think so little of gamers and their acumen or their like sophistication that they feel like we're all idiots. When it's like, you know, in reality, I'm not really sure why anybody thinks it's okay to have an entire esports department with zero esports experience. I think that's just weird to me, right? So it's like, I feel like I could be a GM forever. I've been doing it so long. I could go to other games. Yeah, I could do this or that. It's like, okay, cool. But it's all things I've done, not things I haven't. Yeah.
오늘 프로스트 감독이
네.
가장 불만 많은 게 실무진과 탁상 공론이라고 하잖아요.
그쵸.
그 이론을 다루는 사람과
왜 이게 구분이 없이
이거를 이제 이걸 얘기하는 거네 계속.
맞아요.
I won't say the name, but there was someone I met that apparently, or that was in the esports department. It should be obvious, but I'm not going to say the company because I don't want people to get butthurt. And this person apparently in their job interview said they had 10 years of experience in X, Y, or Z. I was in there for X, Y, and Z. Didn't know that person from someone in the street. That's when I started realizing, oh, you guys are just lying to them and they don't even know, like, what? Like, it's that easy. It's insane. It's insane.
또 시청자 질문. 이거는 제가 볼 때 인간 헥터 사람에 대해서 좀 궁금한 것 같아요. 감독도 포함돼서 말했던 것 중에 약간 후회했다, 괜한 말했다라는 발언들이 있는지.
No, I mean, I'm not that type of person because if I say something that's out of pocket, I have no problem apologizing right away. Like, all right, my bad. I shouldn't have done that. You know, like that. Like even that thing. So I got suspended for 6 months. You know that, right? From the 100 Thieves thing with that gets brought up in every interview. Every job interview. People bring this up, and it bothers me not because I regret it. It bothers me that like I got in trouble for obviously doing the right thing and saying the right thing, but like I got in trouble for questioning why people are making decisions and then immediately changing that decision the very next time, as if we're stupid enough not to catch it. And it's like, I've gotten myself in trouble a lot. I mean, look, I'm out of GE, right? I've gotten myself in trouble a lot. But when I think back and reflect, it's not a matter of like, Hector, you did something really bad there. A lot of times it's just, I'm unapologetic about, I will fight you over the truth. Or like, I'm not going to let you like, I have even had a problem with, I don't know if it was Super, right? But like, you know, I don't want to say his name, but like, I apologize. I don't necessarily think I was wrong, but the way I went about it probably wasn't correct. I still apologize because I have no problem saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to regret it. I'm going to let you know, my bad, I messed up there. Even if I think I was still right about why, I still shouldn't have lost my cool in the way that I did. That just was like dumb, right? And statements I'll never take back. It's like that's the me getting suspended. I still think I was right about that whole ping thing and the fact that like the admins are changing rules as if I'm supposed to sit here and just allow him to do it. When like if I lose, I may get fired, or if I win, I might win a trophy. Like, what are we doing?
왜 이렇게 했는데 생각해보니까 진정하고 보니까 내가 좀 세게 얘기했네.
그쵸.
미안해. 약간
그러니까 미안해. 내용은 맞았다. 하지만 그 대화는 방식에
잘못된 적은
있어서 사과를 한 적은 있다라고
오케이,
말씀을 해주셨어요.
알겠습니다.
네.
이제 마지막 질문에 왔습니다.
네.
뭐 이건 되게 중요한 거죠. 프로스트에게도 중요하고 저희에게도 중요하고 저에게도 중요한 2027년도 바뀌는 리그 구조에 대해서 또 질문이 들어왔습니다.
I think the play-ins are cool. I think even if you don't have a good season, you can still go to the play-ins and stuff. I think that's pretty legit. I actually like it. And obviously that tier 2 team get to play and all that stuff. That's cool.
과거 클랜 배틀 시절 리그 퀄리티가 떨어질 것 같다라는 걱정을 했거든요. 이거에 대해서도 프로스트도 동의하는 건지 궁금하거든요.
2027 I'm not a fan of at all. I vehemently disagree with a lot of what they did. And I don't understand why we spent 5 years investing in Pacific, China, NA, and all that stuff for it to just go away as if it didn't happen. But I don't make the rules. Yeah. I mean, the whole system, they want viewership, but all they're doing is hurting the viewership because people aren't going to be interested in watching for most of the year except for specific events. And even those events, I think it's a mess, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong and that it turns out the best. But if not, I hope to win a champs before and then just move on to the next.
카운터 스트라이크 구조라 리그 구조라고 많이들 얘기를 하잖아요. 당장 1, 2년은 힘들지만 3년, 4년 뒤에는 좀 더 나은 생태가 될 거다라고 하는데 이거에 대해서는 좀 동의 안 하는지 그러면.
But CS was saved a lot by money and sort of like, you know, betting spot. It's propped up by a lot of different stuff. But yes, it could be better. I'm hoping, obviously, like I said, I'm wrong and that my experience though has taught me to trust my gut, and my gut is not happy with what I'm seeing and reading and know and you know all that stuff. So
뭐 저희들 손을 떠나간 거니까 사실
맞아요.
어떻게 보면 잘 되길 바라야 되는
네.
거죠. 이 업계 관계자들 입장에서는.
맞아요.
어쨌든 그래도 뭐 내년에 상금 구조가 엄청 올라가잖아요. 진출만
네.
해도 뭐 몇억 주고 다
네.
진출하면 뭐 10억 주고 막 이러는데 그럼에도 약간 보상하냐 되는 건 부족하다고 생각하는지 그러면.
okay, it certainly helps, but I think people are misunderstanding the cost. Whereas right now, so okay, small example. When we were on 100 Thieves, we went to the Complexity compound for 2 weeks. I think it was to qualify for Berlin. And I'm pretty sure, because remember, I was GM and coach at the time. Pretty sure we paid something like $40,000 for 2 weeks, which might not seem, or which seems like a lot. And it was. I think we paid a premium for sure. But that was hotel, food, and like the boot camp spot, right? So certainly, let's say you mitigate that to half. You're going to spend $20,000 to make $100,000 and pay the salaries and pay. When you think about it from a financial standpoint, it's kind of tough. Whereas here, everyone is in the same spot. So it's a fixed cost. It is a cost, but it's a fixed cost. So I don't know. I think it just basically becomes the rich get richer.
내년도 리그 관련돼서도 프로스 감독도 저도 많은 리그 시청자들도 걱정 그리고 기대 여러 가지 의견을 하고 있는데 뭐 저희 입장에서 잘 되길 좀 바라야 되는 상황이 됐습니다.
네.
자 이제 저희가 이제 드디어 마무리할 시간이 됐는데
네.
출연해 주신 소감, 풀센스의 앞으로의 목표, 한국 팬들과 싫어할 수도 있는 팬들에게도 한마디 해주시면서 마무리하도록 하겠습니다.
Haters, keep doing what you're doing. Fans, holla at your boy. Fans of this show, it's cool that you guys are having foreigners on that are not particular to Korea and, you know, all over the place. I hope that the next time there's like a champs or something here, I'll try to help you guys get like, you know, other players from other regions. Because, you know, on Spike Talk, we get like whoever we want, right? So, but yeah, it was fun. It was a pleasure.
제일 좋은 건 풀센스가 챔스에 진출해서 같이 한번 모이는 걸로 저희가 약속하면서 마무리하도록 하죠. 예.
Yeah, for
film a
sure.
show if they're okay with it.
Cruz for sure, I know. Because he kind of speaks a little bit of Korean too. 여러분 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Thank you.
예, 감사합니다. 프로스트 감독이었습니다.